Tucker's criminal law firm does more legal aid work than any other in Britain.
Why did you go in the second time?
Don't know, I don't even remember going in. I don't even know where the shop is.
For more than 12 months, we've had unprecedented access to their lawyers and their clients.
The most important question is, did you pick up a hammer?
No, certainly not.
The taxpayer spends more than £1 billion every year on criminal legal aid.
He hit me first because he thought I was flirting with another guy.
At a time when the legal system's under increasing scrutiny, this is how justice really works.
I'm just looking for the place where I was caught on CCTV having a cigarette. Straight in front of me there, so I'll just take a quick look.
Will Jenkins has just become a Tucker's client.
According to the police, it'd already been burgled twice prior to my arrival. I didn't touch anything or do anything. Just had a cig. And this is it.
August the 9th, 2011. Rioters overrun the centre of Manchester. The police say Will Jenkins is one of them, and this is the shop he burgled.
It's the first time, other than the CCTV, that I've seen this place. I've never been in, other than that night. The police are alleging that I've burgled this shop. I've no recollection of being here. I was drunk. It holds no memories at all for me. I leave the shop, not touching anything. I then enter back in. I'm off camera for a few seconds only. And I come back, still not touched anything, not stolen anything. I'm not a rioter. At no point on that day in question did I intend to go and burgle a shop or anything or steal any items whatsoever.
Why did you go in the second time?
Don't know, I don't even remember going in. I don't even know where the shop is.
You don't remember going in the first time?
No.
However, by going in that shop, first time maybe curiosity, second time it's more than that. That's what they will say. Your choices are, Will, plead not guilty on the basis that you went in there, however, you didn't have the requisite intent to steal. The problem with that, and I'll be honest with you, Will, I'm not going to bullshit anyone, they've been finding people guilty of such cases of just being in Manchester that night, let alone being in the shop that was burgled, okay? Because they're saying reasonable-minded people would have got the hell out of there for their own safety, okay?
What do you think I should do, in your professional opinion?
Take it on. If you want an honest, no messed about answer. Because you will be found guilty after trial. And then you'll be getting a higher sentence, a significantly higher sentence than you would do.
You know, I could have told him he was walking and, you know, go and book yourself on holiday, don't worry about anything. But then, you know, when the do hits the fan, rightly he'll come back to me and say, hey, you told me I'd be walking, I'm rotting away in strange ways now, you know. You can't give people false hopes, I don't think it's fair to do so.
I'm 40 years old, from Liverpool, living in Manchester now. Joined the army when I was 17. Did a tour of Iraq, Gulf War I. which is pretty horrific. Went to Northern Ireland for 3 years. I left that, went to university, got to project management, got made redundant, left my wife, homeless, and here I am in Manchester. But I met Rob first, initially. He's a charming bloke, puts you at ease, so I felt happy that I've got someone I can speak to and trust. He put on the line. He didn't flannel anything or fluff it up. So I'm expecting worst case scenario. Anything less than that, pretty much won the lottery.
Rob Martini is one of 136 lawyers working for Tuckers.
You told us earlier that it's off magistrates, but I phoned
Don't remember biting her in the head.
They handle more than 10,000 cases a year, most of them funded by legal aid.
We need shoplifters, we need repeat offenders.
Well, you're the client. If you want me to do it, I'll do it.
They earned £10 million in legal aid fees last year, but with legal aid being cut back, the firm's worried about its future.
There's less cases and more firms, or the same amount of firms fighting for work, and you have to try and get a bit of a commercial advantage.
Keyrings, lighters and beer mats.
Hence we've got all our wonderful things, our Tuckers umbrellas, our Tuckers beer mats, which people find in pubs far and wide through our country. All sorts of things. If it doesn't give us business, at least it creates jealousy amongst the other firms.
Franklin Sinclair runs the firm's Manchester office. He himself brings in business in the most unlikely way for a lawyer.
It's that time again. It's just after 10. It's Tucker Solicitors presents Law and Soul, the one you've been waiting for. On Peace FM. Lovely way to start. That's Copeland Green Unconditional Love. And if you can love unconditionally, then you're lucky, I think. And what's today's show about? It's about domestic violence. It's a community radio station, covers South Central Manchester. It's a paid-for slot. The idea is to get publicity, get more clients. It's a good catchment area, obviously, for us. Also, I love doing the show. I used to be a disc jockey in the 80s, worked in the nightclubs, etc. But this is the first time that I've actually done a proper radio show.
Doobie-doobie-doo. Scrubby-doo. I know.
Right, let's go see the client.
A new client has showed up at Tuckers, accused of fighting with his boyfriend in public. Paralegal Beth Somers is sent to get his details.
He hit me first because he thought I was flirting with another guy.
Whilst you were out?
Whilst we were out.
Okay.
And then when the taxi arrived back in where our apartment is, we started brawling out to the street.
Oh gosh. So you was kind of getting the better of each other? Yeah.
Unfortunately, I bit him in several places and he bit me.
Okay.
We both had quite a few injuries.
It's a relatively new relationship. Tim Eagle had previously been married.
And do you have any children?
2.
And do they live with you?
They don't, no, they live with their mum.
But do you still see them?
I do, yes, on a regular basis.
So how long have you two been together for?
7 months.
Right. Everything usually okay up until that night, or?
Yeah, we've had some arguments in between where it has resulted in calling the police.
Who usually calls the police?
Myself.
It's you usually calling the police.
I'm 29 and he's only 19. So.
Oh, I see. Right, okay. So he's only 19. All right, well, I'll walk you back upstairs. And just make sure you're there tomorrow at 9:45. It won't be me, no, it will be one of our solicitors.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So we'll know who it is, who's going. Okay?
Asim Ali is assigned to the case.
Hello, Tim. It's Mr. Ali calling from Tucker Solicitors. I'm just out of court at the minute. How long are you going to be? OK, see you shortly. And you're just outside? All right, thanks. Thanks, bye. It is very annoying because you end up losing a lot of your day just waiting.
Tim turns up with the boyfriend he's accused of brawling with.
Morning.
Morning. Is it Tim?
Yes.
Hi, Tim. Mr. Ali, you OK?
Yes, I'm fine.
So let's just pop into court and then we'll take it from there.
OK, yeah, that's fine.
Tim's looking for work with the NHS, so he's keen to limit the damage.
He's trying to get reduced to a caution, and from what he's saying, I think that the likelihood of that is going to happen, yes.
I found Tim to be quite a typical type of client. Alcohol seemed to be a feature in this case, as it is in a lot of other cases. It clearly didn't necessarily agree with him and didn't bring out the best in him.
Tim eventually gets 40 hours community service, and Tuckers expect never to see him again. Stephen Stewart is one of Tucker's regular clients. He's notorious in his neighbourhood for the night he stopped the traffic on a busy motorway.
Things got to me and got a bit upset. I decided one night that have my say, so I decided to do a peaceful protest. I actually climbed on top of the motorway bridge with my quilt. Unfortunately, they had to shut all the motorway down just in case I decided to do anything stupid like jump, which that wasn't my intention.
His bridge protest over a dispute with social services earned him 9 months probation and a course in thinking skills. But now he has another matter for lawyers Beth Somers and Claire Parrott to deal with, an assault on his ex-partner and a male lodger.
Now, she states that due to your drinking, that you've become violent and have been, she says, punching and kicking her, and there's numerous incidents.
No, it's actually incorrect, that. Yeah, I've been moody. Like we've had arguments, but certainly no violence.
She says that when she arrives back home, you're there, she went into the kitchen and immediately you've started shouting, you're taking the piss, get out of the house.
No. I actually said to her that I needed to have a word in private.
She said underneath the area where you put the coats, she said she had a hammer there on the floor, a black-handled hammer. And she states that at this time you've suddenly stormed into the kitchen, went up to the hammer, picked it up with your right hand, came over to her, leant her against the wall, and then with your left hand grabbed her by the throat.
No, I didn't do that. But she's indicated she's in the living room, isn't she?
It's immaterial. The question, obviously, the most important question is, did you pick up a hammer?
No, certainly not.
You've apparently started shouting and calling her a liar, saying she was having an affair. You've then said that you would put a tracker on her car so you could see where she went.
There's already one on her.
There is a tracker on her car?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Does she know that that's there?
Yeah.
Right.
Also, any text messages or calls that she makes, it comes up on the computer.
Right, well,
she knows about it because I shown her.
This is the 22nd matter that Tuckers have handled for Stephen Stewart, most of them involving disorderly behaviour.
I've known Claire and Beth for a long time and get on well with them. I can phone them day or night, any concerns about the case or things in general. They're more like family. So the worst is 6 months.
That's the worst,
you
yeah.
can't put 6 and 6.
And you would do half of that.
Sometimes I speak to him like every day or every other day.
Sometimes I speak to him at the weekend, or he gives me a text at the weekend, or leaves me a voicemail at night, or, you know.
Right, bye, Stephen.
Yep.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Take care.
He's trying to say the argument's not about jealousy and etc. But then he said he's put a tracker on the car. I may be trying to ask him that question.
The following month, the magistrates find Stephen Stewart guilty of assaulting his ex-partner and their lodger. He's later sentenced to a year's community order and 120 hours unpaid work. In the winter of 2011, Tucker's become involved in a case which horrifies Britain.
I'll miss her anyway as a good friend. They'd snatched her bag with the money in.
There has been a level of violence used. Clearly Nellie's ended up on the floor, and as a result of those injuries, she's now sadly passed away.
Nellie Geraghty was mugged in an Oldham alleyway. Her handbag contained the ashes of her late husband. She was found still clinging on to the strap. 2 boys were seen near the alley.
We went outside to do a bit more free running. My friend got a call on his mobile phone off his mum and said, "Oh, there's police at the door. Can you come home?" And I came up with them. And 2 police came in and said, "Oh, you're under suspicion of a robbery." We got took in the cells. We got told to go to the desk. So I went to the desk, and then the duty officer person told me that I'm under suspicion of murder. I didn't feel myself at all. I felt sick, angry, because of the police. They've got nothing on us, and they're blaming us for this. I was shocked to hear, like, an old woman has been mugged, because it's just, I won't really do anything like that. It's just, there's no point.
Stephen's my rock. My husband's disabled. We've got 2 disabled kids. Stephen's the only one who's not, other than me, that's not disabled. It's my rock. And it was just like my worlds fell apart. I will chop you both up into little bits. I'm going to find out where you both live and set your gaffs alight.
I can't really walk around in my streets anymore. It's just people are like, all over Facebook, I've got death threats about, like, "Oh, I'm going to burn you alive," and stuff like that. So it's just, might as well just keep in cover.
At first, Stephen is represented by a local duty solicitor, but his mother calls in Tucker's, and Michelle Seeger is on the case.
A witness said that they've seen 2 boys leave the scene, and then we got called, like said, like that we were near the scene.
Right.
So we got there.
You got seen in 50 minutes before, didn't you?
Yeah.
50 minutes before.
50 minutes before.
I think if people knew that, you know, actually it was just purely based on the fact that kind of an hour before it all happened, you were near an area.
We had eggs thrown out the window on the Sunday after it all came out, and we had people coming past shouting stuff. And
what's happened with school then? Have you been able to stay at the same school, or?
Like, I've been off for, like, since it's been calming down now. And on this Friday, what's coming up, I'm going in for the day and spending the day with them.
So. Right, so it'd be like a structured sort of day where...
Yeah, it's testing the water to see if he's going to be safe enough to go back.
Yeah.
And see if he's going to be all right. So I said to him, I said, he's not going to be able to go uptown for his dinner out like that.
No.
Because it's too dangerous. So he'll have to, when he goes there, stay in there, have his dinner in there, and then come home and he goes until it all proper calms down.
All right, see you later. All right, bye-bye. We're not entitled to see anything at this stage, so all I can do is support the family, liaise with the officer all the time, try and sort of push them and make sure that they're aware that, that these lives are sort of like on hold until the case is finalised for them.
I'm calling from Tucker's Solicitors. Hi, I'm ringing in relation to a Tim Eagle that you've got with yourselves.
As Christmas approaches, a familiar name appears on the office whiteboard. Tim Eagle, who Tuckers had helped 3 months earlier when he'd brawled with his boyfriend, has been arrested. He wants a lawyer to represent him at the police station. Lorna Wincott is the solicitor on call. Yet again, a fight with his boyfriend is at the heart of his problem.
You're arrested at 5 o'clock this morning. You're on a curfew.
I know.
How many times have you breached your curfew?
That'll be my second time.
Right. All right, well, there's 2 allegations you're here for. One's criminal damage and one's fraud. I'll start with the fraud because it's just the easy one. Do you know what this is about? You had a bus pass on you and you've made a significant statement. Basically, you've made a comment in custody and it's been recorded, and the comment was, "It's not mine, I found it, but I have been using it." Now that's recorded as evidence now because it was when you were brought into custody. Can you remember making that comment?
I can remember saying it too.
Right, the other offence you've been arrested for is a criminal damage. A bit more worries about this because this seems to be your thing when you and Kieran have a row, and you're racking them up at the moment, aren't you? Basically, you and Kieran go out, get drunk, have a row, and something happens that you end up arrested, or one or both of you. And what they're saying is you and Kieran were staying at the Renaissance last night. Gone out around 2:30 this morning. About 4:15, Kieran's come back to the hotel and he said to the staff, "You know my boyfriend, well, don't let him back in because he's been very aggressive towards me, he's punched me in the face." This is where things have gone wrong because 20 minutes later you've arrived, they're saying. Spoke to a member of staff who said, "Well, you can't come in at the moment, go outside and phone Kieran outside." Whilst you were outside, they've basically heard smashing glass, and a window of a restaurant, which is essentially next door to the Renaissance called Rustica, has been smashed.
It turns out he failed to carry out his earlier community service order and has been punished with a suspended prison sentence. Lorna's worried this new offence will trigger the prison sentence, so she introduces Tim to the concept of the no-comment interview.
So basically, I'm happy that you confirm who you are, where you live, and that you understand the caution and general prelim stuff. Anything about the actual offence, about your comment, the reason for your arrest, that's what I need you to reply no comment in relation to. And we're going to have a little practice of that. So the first thing she might say to you is, you've been arrested for criminal damage at whatever time this morning, is that correct?
No comment.
Correct. And then she might say, "You're arrested at 5 o'clock this morning, aren't you meant to be on a curfew?"
No comment.
Right. Can you confirm that when you came into custody you said in relation to the bus pass, "It's not mine, I found it, but I've been using it"?
No comment.
Is it Kieran, is he your boyfriend?
No comment.
Right. Can you confirm what you look like?
No comment.
You've got blonde hair, haven't you?
No comment.
Right. Why don't you describe what you look like?
No comment.
Are these your trainers?
No comment.
Is that your footprint?
No comment.
Right, okay, so all the way through.
With Lorna's help, Tim gets bail. He's due in court within the week. Will Jenkins, the Gulf War veteran charged with burglary during the Manchester riots, is due in court. His case, like those of all the rioters, will be heard in the Crown Court, but first it has to pass through the magistrates, where his lawyer is Parrott. She's sympathetic to his pleading not guilty.
But you're maintaining that you didn't go in there with any intention.
No.
And in that case, you know, you really should pursue the matter to trial. We've discussed sentence. I think it's looking likely that if you were convicted, you would get around 2 years custodial sentence.
I'm not pleading guilty for something I haven't done. You didn't steal anything, so...
And you didn't intend to steal
No, I
anything.
didn't.
That's the issue, whether you intended to.
Absolutely not, so...
Most of Tucker's work is legally aided criminal law, but they also specialise in civil actions against the police. Junaid Mayat, a former fireman, is suing West Yorkshire Police. He says 4 years ago they wrongfully arrested him, assaulted him, and maliciously prosecuted him after he was stopped for a routine motoring inquiry. The police say Junaid was uncooperative and threatening.
This officer's pinned me down. He's banging my head on the footpath. The other officer's jumped into the back. He's jumped on my back and he's punching me in my back. He dragged me up and then I'm leant over this wall with the handcuffs on, legs wide apart.
Tuckers are going to represent him in court. Kieran Walsh is his solicitor.
We've got to move on to the offer, really, haven't we? And discuss the offer.
A week before the trial opens, the police offer £8,000 to settle the case. Kieran and barrister Hugh Barton need to get Junaid's response.
I mean, I get the impression you want to see it out in court, slug it out.
The risks. Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So, do I take it from that you don't want to accept the offer? Would you like to put forward an offer to...
We'll go to court.
Well, okay...
I understand the risk, I understand all the advice you've given me.
Yeah.
I understand everything. But I'm telling you the truth, and the truth always comes through. They've accused me of making death threats towards them and their families. Those allegations, I don't take lightly.
I know you don't.
Whether it's 60,000 or 160,000, I'd rather have my day in court and watch them answer these questions.
No. Okay, so our response is thanks but no thanks.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see if there's any reaction to that.
Tuckers are fighting this case on a no-win, no-fee basis. If Junaid gets a big win, they'll benefit. If he loses, they don't get paid.
In your life, this is a big moment for you. You know, you won't be involved in another case like this, and this, you know, it's not just a...
Hopefully not.
You know, this is big, and it can go disastrously wrong, so it can be devastating for you. We lose as well if you lose. We lose...
So there's more reason not to lose then?
Nice with him. It'd have been nice if he'd given us a figure that we could go back to the other side with, but he obviously wants his day in court. He comes across well, and he always has when he's spoken to me about the incident, and I believe him. That's, you know, I've got faith in him. But it's not me he's got to convince, it's the jury.
Tim Eagle has a suspended prison sentence hanging over him. It could be triggered this morning. He's due in court in Warrington for breaching a curfew.
They're quite minor offences, but I had quite an easy punishment when we first met in Salford. It was just 40 hours, but unfortunately, it's hard to keep. It's not hard to keep them, but it's hard to get out of bed in the morning and go work for free. So I didn't stick to those, and then unfortunately I committed another offence in Manchester City Centre. But I really don't want to go to prison because I've got 2 children too, and I really want to try and do more with them in the new year. I feel more nervous today, there's only a breach. We've got a really strong relationship, and we've been going out about 11 months now. I'm quite young-minded, I think that's a problem. So I should be more... I should knuckle down and think first instead of acting first.
A Appearing before Warrington magistrates, Lorna Wincott manages to keep Tim out of prison. The magistrates impose more unpaid work for breaching his curfew.
First step. Brilliant. I'm really happy.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
All right, guys.
Okay.
See you later. I'll speak to you later.
Thanks very much. Bye.
But Tim still has one more court appearance to come, in Manchester, for smashing a restaurant window. There's been a development in the civil action Junaid Mayat is bringing against West Yorkshire Police.
The police have increased the offer to £12,000 to settle the claim. The police describe it as a final offer. I think we should be seen to be doing something because then, if it doesn't turn out exactly how we want, at least we can show that we made some attempt to negotiate at a reasonable level. I do think you've got to make a sensible offer to you know, if you don't want to do so, then that's fair enough. My advice to you is do not do that. The counter offer wants to make £250,000 or the two officers sacked. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I understand he's upset by what went on, but he's got to take the advice of his lawyers. Or, you know, I think to make that sort of offer is going to be counterproductive.
You're old, Jimmy Butler. You always were.
Get it? Your dad's nothing but a dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking whoremaster.
My mother's name for you. The first words I remember. No wonder I'm a poet.
Gerard Butler is a Tucker's client.
I am a part-time performance poet. It's something that I do for the love of it. It's something that I do to keep my sort of paws in show business, if you like.
Jimmy's a dead-end kid, blistered by the fists of drunks who babysit their sons and daughters, telling bedtime stories of prison hits, page 3 tits, and the purity of skag.
The performance poetry I do isn't work. I will admit to occasionally being paid. I will put my hands up to it, but it's so sporadic and the gigs are so far apart that it's never what I would consider to be an income.
It's Laurel Goss from Tucker's Solicitors. I don't know if you'll be able to help. It's regarding Gerard Butler. He's been on benefits for quite a long time, many years actually, and on the basis of sickness. The benefits agency found out that he's been doing this work and getting paid for it. He has quite a good case because it's arguable whether this is work or not. I just wanted to get an update. This has been hanging over Mr. Butler for a while now. In the last 3 years, they say that he's earned £14,000 on top of his benefits, which he hasn't declared. So that's enough to make there's a substantial amount of overpayment just on the fact that working and not declaring it.
I haven't earned £14,000 in any way, shape or form. Look where I live. I live in a tower block in Hume. I don't have any curtains. I don't have any luxuries or anything. I live quite frugally.
This is, I think, the ultimate live art moment. Yes. I'm being done for benefit for being filmed for that, and I'm on stage in a theatre, which I'm not getting paid for.
The benefits agency has worked out that Gerard's had £4,000 too much from them, and he's agreed to pay it back. But now he's waiting to hear if he'll also be prosecuted. Tim Eagle has a suspended prison sentence hanging over him. So far, Tuckers have managed to keep him out of jail. Now he's due to appear before Manchester magistrates charged with taking a bus pass and damaging a restaurant window. He and boyfriend Kieran have come into Tucker's to meet Franklin Sinclair.
Hello.
Hiya.
Well, I thought we would never see you again.
I know.
You seemed like, not that you're not a nice guy, but you seemed such a nice guy, and I never thought you'd ever get involved with the criminal justice system again. And it was like I said to the court, it was like handbags at dawn, wasn't it, your case?
It was.
So, the situation, as I understand it, when it was left, is that the theft is effectively banged to rights, yeah? You're guilty, aren't you? I think you've admitted it, haven't you?
I admitted it.
So, I'm not worried about that. I don't think that's a problem. I'm worried about the criminal damage, because the value I've read on the file is £500 to a window. And I'm worried because it's a similar kind of offence. It's you two squabbling again, and then smashing glass after an argument between you two, roughly, isn't it?
That's right.
I'd like to think I can persuade the magistrates that you're not really the type of person that they should be sending to jail. It's a waste of time, you know, although it's a shame that the suspended sentence hasn't worked.
I know.
It is a shame. And what about you two? How are you two getting on?
Oh, really good.
Until you get drunk?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's the problem, isn't
We're
it?
getting married sometime this year.
Sorry?
We're supposed to be getting married sometime this year.
OK. Marriages don't always work out, Kieran, I can tell you that, from personal experience. They seem, if I can say that, the perfect couple. But obviously, when they've had a few drinks, they start having lovers' tiffs in a dramatic fashion. And unfortunately, that's all really that gets him into trouble. And I just hope we can keep him out of jail, really.
Franklin asks the court to send Tim on an alcohol course rather than to prison. The magistrates retire to consider their decision. Tim enjoys a moment of freedom.
Hopefully they'll see that I've had a good past in my employment, I've never got in trouble. I'm a very positive guy. I'd like to think that I'm going to be walking out the front door in the next 10 minutes.
But Tim's luck runs out.
We've got 6 weeks, so we've got 3 weeks. He's very upset and so am I.
I really thought we'd done enough to persuade them, you know. It felt good. It felt like I was convincing them. I felt good. But fell on deaf ears. That's my job. And now, to do a police station right away. To turn off now. All the best.
You too.
Cheers. In strictly legal terms, it wasn't a harsh sentence and he did well. However, I was disappointed because I thought that we gave the court a good opportunity to do something positive to try and keep Tim from reoffending. And 6 weeks in jail, which will be 3 weeks in jail, will not keep Tim from reoffending.
No agreement has been reached in Junaid Mayat's action against West Yorkshire Police, so the trial is going ahead. Junaid gets ready for court.
I've always been honest, I've been truthful, and my story has never changed.
It's okay.
Honesty has been my driving force, and I know I will get justice. I've been looking forward to it. This is what I've been waiting for. 4 years I've been waiting.
It might have taken 4 years to get to court, but the case is over before it begins. It turns out that Junaid has been stopped by the police before, and that officer has come forward with a notebook which paints Junaid in an unhelpful light.
The notebook entry referred to the fact that Mr. Mayat was uncooperative and abusive. If this new evidence was heard by a jury in court, it would not have assisted Mr. Mayat's case. I must admit, I wasn't prepared for a notebook like that, but it's what happens, and you know, you've got to take it on the chin. It was a disappointment to receive that notebook entry.
The case is settled out of court in Junaid's favour. West Yorkshire Police don't accept liability, but they agree to pay him £12,000 and his legal costs. It's not what he wanted, though.
I still feel like, you know, obviously I feel like I've won, and I have won. Obviously, I wasn't best pleased. But I had to take advice from counsel, and I followed their advice, to be fair. Had it been in my hands, I would have still gone all the way.
It's good news in rural Oldham. The investigation into Nellie Garrity's death takes a surprising turn. The police drop Stephen and the other boy from their inquiries. His parents break the news to him that his case is NFA. No further action.
You've been NFA'd. Oh, good. Good. All over. Good.
Is that it?
Good. Is that it? What did happen?
Right.
Good.
The nightmare's over.
Yeah, well, I'm clear.
3 months of living hell. And you.
Yeah, man.
Oh. I'm crying again. The second time I've cried today now.
Why was the first?
When Michelle told me.
Oh, right.
Like Nellie's family.
Oh, yeah.
I feel really, really sorry for them. When they were searching for the bag, I'd have loved to have been there and help them look for the bag, but I couldn't because my son were involved in it. And it's a case of, I feel so sorry for that poor family, what they're going through, but my son didn't do it.
A 37-year-old man has since been tried and found guilty of the murder of Nellie Garrity.
It's just really pleasing for me because I felt that these boys had been arrested in a hasty way. At the end of the day, you feel for these people, you know, especially young people, personally for me, and mums, you know, I'm a mum myself, so I can't imagine what it would feel like myself to know that my son hadn't done something.
Three weeks after his conviction, Tim Eagle is released from Strangeways prison.
It was a terrible experience. It's not a recommended place to go. I was on one of the roughest wings in the prison, so it was just, I wouldn't say hell, it was worse than hell. We only had 7 channels on the telly, which was not good. So I'm a quiz master now. I've watched so much quizzes and property programmes. I can build a house from scratch now.
Boyfriend Kieran turns up.
You're pale.
I know. Don't see much sun in there.
Well, I'm going to take you some breakfast, take him to some bed, get his hair cut, and we might just go to the casino, because you've not been there for a while now, have you?
The poet Gerard Butler has heard from the benefits agency. He's to be prosecuted for fraud. Solicitor Caroline Wilbraham will represent him in court.
If we do enter our guilty plea, the prosecution then stand up and essentially read out the facts of the case, what the overpayments are, what the period of overpayment is. It would then be my turn to put forward what you have to say and hand up the letters with regard to your ill health.
Gerard accepts that he got money for performing, but says he also had to pay other artists out of it.
Yes, you have had various payments, various grants, but some of the grants have been money that you've paid to other performers with regard to stage plays and things like that you've been putting on. Yes.
I know this might sound a little trite, but I'm not a banker. I'm some two-bit alcoholic drug poet who just did this little thing, and it just seems a little much.
On the morning of his court case, Gerard has decided how to plead.
I'm going to plead guilty All I want is this to be over with. It's all I've ever wanted. What I want to do is lie down on my couch and eat soup and talk to my friends about old times. That's all I want to do, because that's what gets you better. Being dragged through court doesn't get you better. It makes you worse.
The court imposes a 6-month community order on Gerard. He is also fined £250 and tagged for 4 weeks. The trial of Will Jenkins, charged with burglary during the Manchester riots, is about to start. The former soldier is feeling far from brave.
I'll be candid with you. Crap in it. It's not an environment I'm used to. I'm not in my comfort zone. Hopefully, I can just train myself as best I can.
The jury watches the CCTV and is asked to decide if he intended to burgle the shop or not. After 5 hours and 16 minutes, they are unable to reach a verdict.
It's wasted my time, the jury's time, taxpayers' money, prosecuting for nothing, for standing in the shop having a cig. It's outrageous. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed but happy, if that makes sense. I don't know.
7 weeks later, Will Jenkins is acquitted at a retrial. He is a free man.